Why quality over quantity is subjective. This is another big term that creatives can take to heart and really let it get to them and hinder their creativity. So I'm gonna go into some brand terms that tie into quality and consistency, and I'm gonna go over points of why it can hinder you. First, it can reduce your output. Taking quality over quantity, taking that phrase to heart can reduce your output. So as you spending more time trying to perfect each piece and focusing on every single little detail that it needs to be perfect, it needs to be industry standard, it's taking up too much time. So you will like end up not even making a lot of pieces or beats, whatever it may be, to the point where you can't even keep up if you're trying to do some type of showcase or whatever it may be. And this statement is a perfectionist statement. So the emphasis on quality can lead to a perfectionist mindset where the creative is more focused on every little detail. Like I said, you focus on every little detail rather than creating and sharing the work. Because whether you like it or not, being a creative, whatever industry it may be, there is a social aspect to your creativeness, and it's time consuming. Thinking quality over quantity is the end all be all way to go about your creations will take up a lot of your time. It will take more time, especially when you're a creative with a day job. So if you can only work on stuff on your break or whatever, and you trying to make everything perfect, and you have limited time resources, this is going to get in the way of making your work and pumping it out at a consistent pace. And it causes you to be narrow-minded. It causes a narrow-minded approach to creativity. So you're less willing to explore new ideas because you think it will compromise your quality. So this will limit the range of your creative expression. And I'm not saying that quality isn't important. I'm not saying that at all. But you just really have to discern that balance between quality and quantity if you want to flourish as a creative. By making a lot of stuff, you're not sacrificing your quality, because you have to disconnect from your products a bit, because like I said, there is a social aspect to what you are creating. You are going to show this off. You are going to play beats for artists. You are going to display your artwork at the Detroit Fine Arts Breakfast Club in a gallery. You are going to perform at open mics, things like that. You will have people who are hooked on your stuff, like no matter what. You will have people who damn near love everything you put out. For example, you look at somebody like Yeet. There's tons of people who will say, man, quality over quantity, when he drops an album or when Youngboy drops an album. But it's somebody, one of his super fans, they're loving that shit. Every song that's on that album is on a playlist. So you have to disconnect yourself from your artwork a bit. So I'm gonna go some brand terms and how they tie into consistency. So marketing. Marketing is the act of creating awareness or interest in your brand. Marketing is your sphere of customers. That ties into this because consistency is going to create awareness of your brand. You're not going to create awareness if you're nitpicking every little detail of your painting, every detail of your song, of your beat, spending too long on it, spending weeks on it, spending months on it. Another brand term, tangible. Tangible is the physical assets that can be touched, such as your products, the packaging of your products, your building, whether that may be a brick and mortar, your paintings, your prints, etc. This ties into consistency because your products are a part of your consistency. The amount of products you put out is a part of that. So whether that may be an album, paintings, beats, things like that. Whatever you make as a creative are your tangibles. Personality. The personality of your brand. The personality of your brand is the attitude your brand gives off when interacting with your audience or customers. So, is the attitude of your brand motivated and consistent? Or is it mysterious? Is it vague? Is it inconsistent? In the works? You know, is it that? Culture. The culture of your brand goes into the actions of your brand. Keep in mind, consistency is an action. Being in a creative flow is an action. So your actions set the stage and culture of your brand. That goes into the personality also. So what's the culture of your brand? Is the culture of your brand inconsistency, vagueness, in the works, you know? Or is it, oh, he always drops some new content. Oh, he always dropping. Core values. Core values are the thought forms and principles your brand is fueled by. So consistency should be a core value of your brand. Because at the end of the day, people like to see motivated people. Your consistency displays motivation. Your internal motivation. You just have to find a way to translate that into your audience. And not only the internal motivation, but discipline. You know, discipline and consistency, two sides of the same coin, really. Last brand term. Message. Your message of your brand is what separates you from the competitors. So what's gonna separate you from competitors or other artists, whatever? I don't look at it as competition, me personally. But what's gonna separate you is your quantity. If you always in your audience face and you always in people face, dropping new paintings, dropping new beats, dropping new songs, that's gonna separate you. The main core values of your brand is your message. All of these brand terms tie into consistency. So people love to binge on content. So you want to make and actually put out enough content for people to binge on when they enter your world, whether it's your website, social media profile, YouTube. Each product you make is a piece of the overall puzzle of you, and it sums up who you are and what your message is. So this is why you don't have to chase perfectness with everything you make, with every beat you make, with every painting you make. Each thing you make is a learning tool. So you're like, oh, okay, in this painting, I should have done this. But that don't mean to go back into the painting and obsess over that detail, but it's like, okay, well, let me apply what I learned from making this painting into the next painting, and so on and so forth with each product, each beat, whatever you make. Your supporters should know you for consistency. Because like I said, you putting out consistent content, products that translates into people seeing that you are motivated and that you are disciplined. Even if it's some old content, they don't know that. So it's about finding your consistency and let the people who support you adjust to it. You got to think of it like a consumer, because at the end of the day, you are. But it's just a balance. You never want to be a consumer more than you're creating. Your audience may take a liking to your product, but consistency will be one of the top factors, if not the main factor, on if they're going to buy in. Because they will see that you care about what you do. People like to see motivated people. It creates a parasocial relationship. And that's what everybody's doing. Like, everybody that you resonate with online is making a parasocial relationship. Can be used for good or for bad. Your audience, they kind of got to know what they're getting into when you release something new. When you listen to Youngboy, you're going to hear certain drums, certain bass lines, certain notes, a certain tempo. So you got to distance yourself from your product. Like I said, no matter what industry you in, it's a social aspect to it. Your audience is going to pick what they like anyway. So if you're a producer, you spending all of this time on a certain beat, the artist is going to pick what they like anyway. They're going to say, next beat, bro. Or you're an artist, you're displaying a painting in the gallery. The people who come to that show, they might like the painting that you spent an hour on, but you really want them to like the painting that you spend a week on. It's like people are gonna pick what they like anyway. Just use each piece, each product, whatever you make, as a learning tool for the next one. Because with your creative mind, you can never run out of ways to add flair to your product. So that's why it's okay if some of the stuff looks somewhat the same, because it's all in the universe of you. And that's going to be a whole nother video. It's okay if your stuff look the same or sound the same, because it's all in the universe of you. There's nothing too bad about that. Depending on the creative and their ability to continue to experiment, but still staying in that same realm. Once you have everything covered, you can just move on to the next thing. For instance, if you're a producer, once you got the highs, the mids, and the lows, you move on to the next beat. You don't have to obsess over every little detail in the beat, go back, changing drums and stuff like that. Your quantity goes into finding your formula. Cause like once you find your formula, like it's over with. like you found your style. Now you just keep building up on that. Everything you make don't gotta be perfect. It's all adding into the puzzle. The overall puzzle and image of you and your brand and what you're known for. Your formula is going to build your value. It builds your value and efficiency so you can get your ideas out to your audience. You can't get your ideas out in a consistent manner to your audience if you're taking too long on everything you make. Your workflow is going to help your quantity. Your quality is the journey of getting 1% better and using each piece as a learning tool for you to continue to hone and refine your style. And the quality is just the end result. I'm pretty sure even top selling producers or famous painters, whatever, they still make things they don't like. That's fine that you don't like it. Most likely somebody else in your audience will. And that goes back into disconnecting yourself from your art a little bit. Not too much, you know what I'm saying? Not too much. And some great examples of what I'm saying is artists like Certified Trapper, Yeet, Sheefy McFly, Young Boy, Rio Leva, Ayaze, aka Jace, Isaiah Ford, Lil B, Gucci Mane, Sada Baby, RX Poppy, RSK Nephew, Energy Beats, Rio the Young OG. The thing all of these people have in common is their quantity. Because at the end of the day, somebody in their audience is going to like it. Especially in this day and age where everything is just so fast. And you have a big demand, especially if you have a big audience. And they're experimenting to tie this all together. Quality over quantity does not have to apply to you. It should not be taken to heart because it will lead you to perfectionism. And that's a big hindrance for creatives. Firstborn Art, Creative Accountability, Sex, Shrooms, and Saturn, new album, dropping in 2 days. I'm gonna put this up on my YouTube. I appreciate y'all.